Well, welcome back to the Radical Dreamers. We're going to get another ending today. This one's going to take a little bit to do because it does have a little bit of length to it. The first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and go to sleep here. Serge. Oi, Serge, I'm talking to you. My head jerked upward as I snapped back to consciousness. Idiot that I was, I'd managed to drift off. As I came back to my senses, I looked up to see the hulking shadow of Lynx's manor looming over us. Wakey, wakey, sleepyhead, we've got work to do. Her words had hardly reached me before she jumped onto the terrace and disappeared within. Ack, wait up, kid. Flustered, I rushed after her. The corridor stretched off to the left and right from the terrace. Okay, so once we make our way in... Alright, where's our way in? Kid's casual comment settled our nerves. Magil quietly surveyed our surroundings. Meanwhile, I found myself distracted by how cold the sweat on my forehead felt. Previously, if you wanted to get one of the other endings, you would actually look at the light here. But instead of looking at the light, we actually want to just follow after Kid. A soft glimmer of light. At least, I thought that's what I had saw. A gentle glow coming from a decorative window close to the ceiling. But as much as I strained my eyes to try and catch it again, I couldn't. Oi, Serge, you better not be sleeping on the job. We'll leave you for the guards to find. Kid and Magil were already far down the passageway. How long had I been standing there? Alright, let's go ahead and rush after them. Once we're inside here, the first thing we actually want to do is to head to the treasure room. So from the terrace here, we want to go right down the corridor. And once you go to the right, you're going to hit the ancient looking door. We're going to go ahead and just walk past it. Now you have to be careful here because you can trigger other endings and we want to make sure we don't do that. So this is the treasure room here, which is meant to keep something safe, obviously. And we want to go ahead and try and enter it. Bah, what am I, stupid? Of course it's bloody locked. Kid had tried the door handle a few times before giving it a grumpy kick. Bloody door's got a magic barrier on it, and the bloody barrier's got a barrier of its own to boot. It'll take more than me putting the boot in to get through all that. I see, then unless we find the key, we don't have a hope of getting inside. Reckon I can handle a key hunt, especially if it's that idiot Lynx who's hidden it. If we can find his room, I'll sniff it out in 2 seconds flat. You just watch. There was a little more we could do here, so we decided to look elsewhere. Okay, so we actually want to head back towards the terrace at this point, and we want to go ahead and just continue down until we find some stairs. So once we reach the stairs, we want to go ahead and just go down the stairs. Okay, we don't want to go towards the atrium. We want to go to the right. And there should be 2 rooms over here. There's going to be Riddell's room, which is the first room we come across. We don't want to go in here. We want to go ahead and just continue on our way. Well, if I keep getting all of these random events, goodness. In the darkness, Kid's lips twisted into a grin that turned my blood cold. So we want to go ahead and we want to go inside into Lynx's room. So previously in here, the first time we asked a different question to the mirror, but now we want to ask where the key is. There was something deeply unpleasant about the room. There wasn't anything unusual about the furniture and fittings, not how they looked or how they were made, but taken as a whole, it felt discordant. Was this a reflection of Lynx, a seemingly ordinary facade that hid a disturbing truth only some could see? Right, I bet we'll find the key to the vault in here or a clue about where to find it. I started searching through the room. The desk drawers, the paintings on the wall, the vase on top of the side table. I left no stone unturned. There didn't seem to be anything suspicious. But as I scanned the room, something unusual caught my eye. There was a pedestal in one corner with a significant-looking scarlet cloth drawn over it. I slowly raised my hand toward it. I carefully pulled the cloth away, revealing a mirror. It was old-fashioned and of an elaborately decorated style I'd seen before, and in it was reflected a statue of Venus. Suddenly, the eyes of the statue shone with light. What is your desire? The mirror, it's speaking. Kid and Magil ran to my side. There's no need to panic. It's a whispering mirror, nothing more, said Magil flatly. What's one of those? A magical mirror in which a spirit dwells. The spirit can freely move between its own and other mirrors and will share its wisdom with those who ask. Interesting. What should I ask it? You want to ask where the key to the vault is. Do you know where the key to the vault is? The mirror's reflection rippled and changed to reveal a room with numerous bookshelves. A deep, sonorous voice spoke. You will find the key in the place I have revealed, the study. It is inside a book with a purple cover in the furthest bookshelf from the door. The image of the study vanished from the mirror and the voice went silent. It appears the spirit has left for another mirror, commented Magil. To the study then. As I made to leave the room, a low voice rumbled through the air, stopping me dead in my tracks. Beware, he knows. Was it the voice of the mirror again? What did it mean? Hurry up or we're leaving you behind, Serge called Kid from outside. Flustered, I rushed after her. So now that we know this information, we want to go ahead and head back up the stairs and to the study. All right, so now that we've actually gotten here, my goodness, I've just been getting nothing but random events this time. The battles aren't that big of a deal, but you get too many of them, you can definitely end up hurting a little bit. Anyway, we want to go down the side passage to get to the study. And this is where we need to remember the book. So let's go ahead and go inside. Kid gently pushed the door ajar and peeked into the room. The next thing I knew, she slipped inside. Magil and I followed. Looks like a study. The room was lit by the moonlight coming through the long, slender windows, slanting down in pale beams through the darkness. It was pretty big for a study, and an immaculate antique desk dominated the center. There were rows of bookshelves lined with thick, dusty old tomes. The wall to the rear of the room was decorated with paintings, and shelves of vases and painted plates stood before it. They all seemed to be curios from foreign lands. Right, let's find this key. Lights on her feet as always, Kid moved into the center of the room. Where'd the mirror say it was again, Serge? She was asking me, how was I supposed to remember? Alright, so once all of these pop up, we want to do the purple cover in the far bookcase, which is all the way down here. I think it was supposed to be with a purple cover in the furthest bookcase. Alright, let's see. Seeming to take my word for it, Kid made for the case in question. Right, this is the one. Purple cover, purple cover. Aha, this has got to be it. Kid pulled out a book from the bottom shelf. Magil and I watched as she opened it. The pages were hollowed out, and hidden inside was an old key decorated with strange symbols. Nailed it. Nice one, Serge. Kid snatched the key from inside of the book. Right, time to finally get a look at this treasure. Having got what we came for, we left the study. Well, instead of going that direction, we're actually going to head back down the stairs and go to Lynx's room, which is the difference here. Previously, you would go to the vaults, but we don't want to actually do that. We want to take the passageway to the right, and we want to go past Radill's room, and then we want to go into Lynx's room. Still nobody home. It didn't matter how many times we came here, I was never going to be able to shake the sense of unease this place gave me. Shall we try speaking to the mirror again? Kid and Magil both nodded in response. I pulled the scarlet cloth away. There was already an image floating on the mirror's surface. That's this room, isn't it? Magil stared intently around at the walls. That one. We set about examining the wall he'd pointed at, but no matter how much we patted, tapped, and prodded, we couldn't get any part of it to budge. I don't understand, said Magil, crossing his arms in thought. Kid, meanwhile, was kicking the wall ferociously, her patience clearly having gotten the better of her. She had a tendency to resort to brute force when she didn't have any better idea how to solve a problem. And 9 times out of 10, this only served to make the problem even worse. Leave the poor wall alone, Kid. Beating it up isn't going to help. Huh. She glanced around sulkily, her eyes coming to rest on a quill pen. Fine, I'll tickle it instead. She grabbed the pen and started lightly brushing the feathery end against the surface of the wall. As soon as she did, the seemingly solid brickwork began to bulge and bend violently. Kid was as shocked as anyone, jumping back and shouting, "What the hell?" A low, stifled laugh reverberated through the room. Wait, the wall is laughing? Let's see now. She tiptoed toward it again, feather outstretched, and tickled it ever so gently. And sure enough, it bent and buckled again, seemingly desperate to escape the torture. And as it did so, the blocks ground against one another, and a sizable hole opened up in one corner with a shower of sandy dust. The wall had fallen away, leaving a gap just about big enough for a person to pass through. Well, that's one way to hide a doorway, said Kid, kicking at the pile of debris that had accumulated at our feet. We want to go through the newly revealed opening. We stepped cautiously through the opening into the space beyond. Not exactly feature-filled as rooms go, eh? Kid wasn't wrong, the place was completely bare. There's literally nothing here. There's no furniture, no fixtures of any kind, not even a window. It was spacious, but as devoid of ornament as a prison cell. That is, except a large stone slab in the center. What do we have here? Kid muttered, bending down towards the stone as if something had caught her attention. I think you can do pretty much anything. Let's go over and see what it is. What is it, Kid? I walked over to the center of the room to get a closer look. As I approached, I saw that there was some kind of crystal embedded in the middle of the slab. I stepped up next to Kid to get a better view. What do you make of it, Kid? Reckon it must have had something to do with those symbols carved all over the stone. Shame I can't read the bloody things. Let's examine the slab here. The large rectangular slab lay flat in the center of the room like a sort of broad pedestal. As Kid had pointed out, its surface was covered with strange markings that had to be letters of some kind, and in the middle of it was a spherical crystal, the bottom half of which was embedded in the stone beneath. We need to know what it says. Magil will probably be able to figure it out, eh? I mean, I can guess enough to know it's probably something about how super important the crystal is or whatever. Come on, come to mention it, it's probably worth a bob or two, yeah? Having realized this, she reached her hand out toward it. As she touched it, it seemed almost to glow for a brief moment, and then everything went white. We opened our eyes to find ourselves in an arena? What the? Don't ask me, mate. I'm as clueless as you are for once. Kid was clearly no less surprised than me. But seriously, what exactly was going on? Wherever we were, only she and I had made it there. Where's Magil? Beats me. I haven't got a bloody clue what's going on here, unless we got, I don't know, magicked away somewhere? When you say magicked, well, like, there might have been a spell that magics whoever's on top of that slab off somewhere else when you touch the crystal thingy, which would explain why Mage didn't make it along for the ride. Yeah, that makes sense. So no Mage, eh? Afraid so. So what are we gonna do? So what do we do now? What do we do? We gotta get out of this creepy arena. That's what. Kid examined our surroundings. This whole place seems fake. To start with, I'm pretty sure it wasn't the middle of the bloody day when we left. This has gotta be an illusion. An illusion? Yeah, wherever we are, it doesn't exist in the real world. Whoever set this up must be one heck of an illusionist. Just at that moment, a self-satisfied chuckle floated to us on the air. Who's there? Who's there? Show yourself. I shouted loud enough that you could have heard me all the way over on the other side of the arena, but my challenge was met with silence. We looked around, and then a figure appeared in the entrance tunnel on the opposite side from us. Who the heck are you? It was Kid's turn to shout. I bid you welcome to the Colosseum. The figure's voice rang out across the space between us. So who are you? I wanted to bravely demand who we were dealing with, but my voice failed me. Grr. Kid was also seemed to have been struck dumb and could only growl wearily. Please, you need not be so flustered. I ask only that you hear me out. But first an introduction. I am Ganju, Master of Mysteries. And this is, as you correctly surmised, my dear, is a place of illusions. So saying, he proceeded to levitate, floating at around head height above the ground. The Colosseum, as you may have guessed, is a battleground. Only those who emerge victorious are able to return to the world from whence they came. What? And on this monstrous occasion, friends, the illusionist pointed at Kid and then at me, you will be fighting one another. Only the victor will be permitted to return to the mortal realm. Well, any questions? Me fight Kid? I have to fight Kid? Yes, you must. Wait. You listen to me, old man. I've been nice and patient while you spouted your rubbish, and now it's my turn to talk. Why do I have to fight Serge? Why don't we just kick the stuffing out of you and find our own way out? For one, you can't, and it would be meaningless to try. I have been searching for someone truly mighty. What? Now to battle, you must not keep your audience waiting any longer. As soon as he said this, the stands, which I could have sworn were empty a moment earlier, erupted with a deafening roar. Roar! But you were hardly dressed for the occasion, either of you. Let us see now. And suddenly we had both changed clothes. The greatest showdown of our time awaits. Serge, the gladiator's gladiator versus Kid, the walking weapon. Let the games commence. And with that, he vanished. What the bloody hell's... Kid suddenly erupted with a bright white glow. Nya! Light bathed her entire body as it grew in an instant to an enormous size. When the light finally subsided, a giant, heavily muscled Cyclops stood where Kid had been only moments earlier. I looked down to see that a sword had appeared in my right hand and a shield in my left, and that I was really dressed like a gladiator. I suddenly felt my body suffused with enormous strength. Grah! Our competitors' preparations are complete. The illusionist's voice rang out over the roars of the crowd. Now fight! Kid, while the Cyclops glared at me with a single massive eye. Alright, you need to stand and fight here. I tried lifting the sword I held in my right hand. What the? I feel so strong. Normally, I wouldn't have been able to handle a sword like this with two hands, let alone one, but here I was, able to swing it just as easily as I could wield a knife. I charged into battle, leaping at the giant's feet. I swung my sword at an exposed big toe. Wah! It gave a great cry of pain. You want to continue to stand and fight. The giant's fist plummeted down from an overhead like a meteorite. Clong! A dull shock shot through my left arm. I had just managed to catch the punch in time with my shield. My feet slid along the ground, leaving small mounds of sand behind them, but my shield and my body stood fast against the blow. When did I get so strong? Power was welled up within me. I gave its outreached arm a good slice with my sword just because I could. Continue. I compressed my body like a spring, building up strength, and leapt up with all my might. I couldn't believe it. I was flying through the air, just like Magil. No, better than Magil. Woohoo, here I come! And an awesome power welled up inside me, and with it, a sense of satisfaction, almost joy. I plunged my sword into the giant's shoulder, bringing the full power of my rippling muscles to bear. Grah! Its legs buckled and it collapsed to its knees in pain. Let's continue. I ran toward the giant, then leapt at it to get in close. Its chest was wide open. I swung my blade with all the strength I could muster. Whoosh! My sword left a gaping wound in its wake. I was completely overwhelming the Cyclops. The monster was covered in cuts and lacerations. It was struggling, and it could barely stand, panting heavily as it crouched on the ground, holding itself up with one shaking hand. Ha 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 ha! I'm winning! One more time here. I threw my shield to the ground and took my sword in both hands. I was so powerful. This newfound strength was intoxicating. The giant was reeling from my onslaught. I was going to win. I was going to beat an actual Cyclops, me, and I tightened my grip. And as I did, even more power welled up inside me. I prepared to make the most of this final surge of strength. I jumped up high, holding my sword aloft to deal the finishing blow. Shang! Something flicked away my blade before it could stab the giant in the eye. There's no way it could have parried that. Who was interfering? I looked up. Magil! There he was, holding a long curved sword. What are you doing? What are you doing? Have you forgotten that this is Kid? I stared blankly at Magil. Thank you, Mage. Thanks, Mage. Magil braced himself for battle. All was quiet as he stared the creature down. Suddenly all the life faded from the Cyclops' eye. Thud. The ground shook as its massive body fell to the ground. Huh? And then Ganju's voice floated to us from out of nowhere. It seems someone else has joined us here. Very well. Very well. I had been wondering if it might be time to bring proceedings to an end. And then there he was in front of us again. Now, beloved patrons of the Colosseum, lift up your voices in appreciation of the stunning spectacle these brave warriors have blessed us with today. Yeah! An enormous roar went up from the stalls, though I had still the odd feeling that they were entirely empty. Now then, as he said this, the great Cyclops' body began to glow a brilliant white. It was so bright that I could barely see, and when the light faded, Kid was lying there in front of us. The wounds I had inflicted were gone. I breathed a sigh of relief at that. My wounds were mostly healed, and I returned to my usual appearance. I really did enjoy every moment of that. Truly, the showdown between the gladiator's gladiator and the walking weapon was every bit as electrifying as I had imagined. But I must confess that Serge does not seem to possess the fortitude I have been seeking. Perhaps the strength I had bestowed upon him was too great a responsibility to bear. Ganju looked toward Magil. That said, you are a truly intriguing little band of rogues. Now, let us return you to your own world, all three of you. As soon as the words had passed Ganju's lips, everything went a brilliant white once more. When the light subsided, we looked around to see that we were back in the secret chamber behind Lynx's room. What the hell just happened? Who knows? I felt like I'd just woken up after a big night at the Laughing Pig. Kid was coming around. Hey kid, are you alright? Kid, how are you feeling? What the hell happened? Did I just have the weirdest dream of my life? She soon recovered her composure and began looking around the room. Ah! Kid, what's wrong? The bloody crystal's gone, that's what's wrong. She was right, the crystal that had been embedded in the slab had vanished. Well, where's it bloody gone? Don't ask me. Well, that's just bloody lovely, ain't it? Nothing to show after all that trouble. She stood up with a dejected sigh. Well, that was a bust. Let's get out of here. We followed her out of the room. I wondered if she even remembered what had happened in the illusory arena. We joined Kid back in Lynx's room. As soon as we had all stepped back through the hole in the wall, the pile of sand stirred to life as if it had been awaiting our return and flowed back to fill the cavity. It settled into place and hardened. To look at it, you'd think it was the same solid wall that had greeted us when we first entered. When Kid rapped her knuckles on the place where the hole had been, all she got for her efforts was a cold, dead thud. She shrugged. Well, it looks like we're about done here, boys, shall we? And with that, we left Lynx's room behind us. Okay, so at this point, we need to finish the game. So I'm going to go ahead and just do all of that off screen because it's going to take me a little bit to do. Rah! She'd taken one look inside the room beyond the door and charged in, shouting at the top of her lungs. Magil and I followed behind her. In front of us stood a man with a very odd hairstyle. Tracked you down at last, Lynx. The great treasure we sought stood between us, a faint crimson light pouring off of it. The frozen flame. I almost yelped its name in my excitement. It would appear to be the jewel, yes. As if in response, the crimson glow seemed to intensify. Here you are at last. I'd begun to worry that you might never appear. Oh, there was never any danger of that. Thanks for hanging out down here with the rock we came to pinch, by the way. Makes things much easier. 2 birds with 1 stone. It's like all me birthdays have come at once. I thought we agreed we were only here for the frozen flame, Magil muttered discontently. Kid barreled on regardless, stepping forward and pointing boldly at Lynx. Sorry to have kept you waiting, Lynxy, but we're here now. So if you don't mind, we'll be knocking 10 bells out of you and taking the frozen flame home with us as a little memento. She was clearly very pleased with her little speech. You clearly do not lack self-belief, but I am afraid things may not end as well as for you as you'd hoped. He was grinning ominously. Initiate Mecha-Lynx launch protocol! What the? At Lynx's command, a great hole began to open up in the floor between us. What looked like an enormous lynx rose slowly from beneath. What the hell is that? The massive mechanoid launched into action, smashing into the ceiling with its large bulk. The entire roof collapsed and a great shower of rubble fell, revealing the full moon above us, hanging in the star-specked night sky. Whoa, what? No one told me about this bloody thing. The appearance of the robot had wrong-footed us all quite spectacularly. I don't know, stand and fight? Alright, if it's a fighty once. Ahem, begging your pardon. A small voice piped up from behind us. We jumped with a start and turned around. What the? There was a crystal floating in the air, emitting a bright light. It's me. I had a feeling things might get interesting, so I decided to follow you. Ganju, murmured Magil. What the bloody heck do you want? I thought I might be able to help you. I do owe you a favor for liberating me from that room after all. And I owe Lynx a favor for trapping me there in the first place. Alright, and how's a floating crystal supposed to help us? I'm glad you asked. I hereby entrust you with the mighty Paradeus. Paradeus? And by the way, none of you will need to transform this time. Wait, what? Before I could finish, the crystal shone with a blazing light, forcing me to shut my eyes. When the light finally abated, I saw a giant creature standing between us and Mecha-Lynx. What the hell is that? Kid was shocked by the new arrival. Whatever it is, I guess it's on our side. Now things are getting interesting. Kid quickly sized up the 2 massive beings. So it's Paradeus versus Mecha-Lynx. Lynx had grabbed the frozen flame and clambered inside his mechanical namesake. Testing, testing, is this thing on? Ahem. Wahahaha! You expect to defeat me with that misbegotten wretch? Mecha-Lynx will crush you. Mecha-Lynx will crush you all. Dream on, mate. Your mental mate. Your mental mate. There will be good for nothing but the scrap heap by the time Paradeus is done with you. The two combatants faced off against one another, the moonlight glinting off their vast forms. Prepare to die, Paradeus. Not likely. Eat monster fist, you mecha moron. Kablowie! The two giants crashed together and the battle had begun. Power punch. Go, Paradeus, use power punch. Paradeus responded instantly to my command and swung at the mech with an enormous right hook. The punch connected perfectly, resulting in a huge explosion. Nah, but the Cyclops had hurt its hand. Killer kick. Killer kick! Paradeus swung its leg like a club, smashing into Mecha-Lynx with earth-shattering force. Clung, screaming from Lynx, I guess. The Cyclops' roar of agony filled the moonlit sky. Mecha-Lynx barely seemed to have felt the blow. Wahahaha! Witness the immovable might of Mecha-Lynx. Damn it, how's that thing still standing? Come on, Paradeus, don't fail us now. Let's evade, I guess? You need to be more careful, Paradeus. Whoosh! Mecha-Lynx fired off a huge rocket punch. Watch out, Paradeus! He heard me just in time and dodged the blow by a hair's breadth. But these rocket punches were just as dangerous on the return journey, and this one was making a beeline for Paradeus from behind. Woom! Shwoom! Paradeus behind you, but it was too late this time. Da-douche! It slammed with full force into Paradeus' belly. This Mecha-Lynx isn't messing around. Power punch again? Punch, punch! Paradeus let loose with its left. Yeah, now it hit its left hand too. Killer kick, I guess? Again? The giant launched a low kick with its left leg. Great idea, Paradeus. That'll knock that thing off its feet. Mecha-Lynx hadn't even flinched. And Paradeus' leg was now bent at a sickening angle. Struth, this thing's tough as all hell. Kid sounded almost impressed. Evade? You have to get out of the way, Paradeus. Mecha-Lynx's chest opened up and a row of missiles emerged from within. No, Paradeus, get out of the way! Pew, pew, pew! They raced off, one after the other, and flew straight towards the three of us. Look out, bloody hell! We were done for! Huh? Paradeus had stepped in front of us to take the missiles full in the chest. There was no way that hadn't done some serious damage. The poor creature screamed in agony. Damn you, Lynx! The fight wasn't over yet. Paradeus beam! Truth, this Mecha-Lynx is a serious problem. What are we gonna do, kid? What are you asking me for? You're the one telling Paradeus what to do. But, no, you're right. Maybe if I gave the heavily injured Paradeus the order to end all orders. Unleash the Paradeus beam. Yes, the beam. The beam that didn't exist. What the heck, Serge? Shut up, you're not helping. While all this was going on, Mecha-Lynx had launched into its next maneuver. This time we were really done for. It seems I have no choice. Magil stepped forward. Hear me, Paradeus. Mecha-Lynx had initiated an attack. It was only a matter of moments now. It is time. Unleash. Raging apocalyptic inferno of extremely certain death. Raging apocalyptic inferno of extremely certain death? A huge fireball was emerging from Paradeus' mouth. It flew towards Mecha-Lynx. Blam, 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 bang, boom, bang. The resulting explosion blew Mecha-Lynx into smithereens. Yes! Not bad, mage. We had defeated the mighty Mecha-Lynx. Thanks so much, Paradeus. Yeah, nice one, big guy. That was quite the showdown. We had nothing but gratitude for our enormous friend. Right, on your way, mate. We'll take it from here. Although Kid was quick to forget the social niceties as ever. There was a blinding white flash and Paradeus was gone. Right, now to find us a jewel. She began reading through the wreckage of Mecha-Lynx. Do you think the frozen flame will still be in one piece? I asked Magil. Undoubtedly, it is no ordinary gemstone. Kid was running all over the place, rooting through piles of debris. Bingo! It seemed she'd found it. We went over to her. She was standing by the remains of the driver's seat. Lying amongst the wreckage was Lynx himself, or what little remained after he'd been frazzled. Yep, here we go. And with that, she plucked the jewel, crimson light still pouring out of it from somewhere in the corpse's vicinity. The frozen flame was ours at last. It was beautiful, so much so that it didn't seem possible that it would be of this world. Would you mind awfully if I had a look? The voice came from the crystal. I fear your prison may pale in comparison. So saying, Magil held the crystal out toward the frozen flame. Truly, it is wondrous. To have been able to encounter such splendor is a blessing indeed. I was right to accompany your little band. The voice seemed to be quavering with wonder. On that note, clink, the crystal shattered. All that remained in Magil's hand were fragments and dust. But what the heck do you think you're doing, Mage? How are we supposed to call old Paradeus next time we need a hand, eh? And that thing was definitely worth a bunch too. Honestly, I can't take you anywhere. All is as it should be. It was a familiar voice, but this time it wasn't coming from the remains of the crystal. Once the spirit inhabiting it moves on to a new crystal, the old one dies. This is as it is meant to be. It was coming from the frozen flame. What do you mean? When we find ourselves a new jewel to inhabit, we stone dwellers take on the attributes of our new homes. Thus do we travel the world from place to place, from gem to gem, in search of ever greater power. And there is no greater power than that of this stone. It is more wondrous than I had ever dared to dream. Perhaps you might join me here. Regardless, I now have the power to aid you by calling on even greater beings than the Cyclops. Kid squinted as she tried to peer inside the crystal. So now you're inside this thing. Does that mean it'll be weaker because you're using up all its magic power? Thankfully, my dear, it does not. Good, because we can't have you going anywhere now that you're inside it. Break the frozen flame, mate, and I'll find a way to break your head. You mark me words. Very well. And with that, the conversation was over. Kid tucked the stone into her pocket and stood to leave. Right. Frozen flame bagged, Lynx burned to a crisp. I'd say that mission's complete, wouldn't you? Indeed. What now? An excellent question. What now, kid? What do you think, you pair of drongos? There's heaps of jewels still out there, ain't there? Just sitting there, waiting for us to come and swipe them. Wouldn't do for us to keep them waiting now, would it? Come on, boys, our thieving days are only just beginning. And so ends another tale. Perhaps one day I'll see this strange and terrible Paradeus again. One day. Somewhere at another time in another world. Perhaps none of us will even realize it. But that's a story for another day. For now, I must put down my pen. I closed my grandfather's diary. And then from downstairs I heard my mother calling. Did you hear me? Your friend's here. Nimble footsteps charged up the stairs. The door flew open and in tumbled a young girl. A girl who seemed somehow familiar. Hey Serge, it's a beautiful day for adventuring. I found a run-down old manor off in the woods to the north. You want to go exploring? Come on, put the book down and let's get out there. Paradeus, the mystery mega weapon. We got one more ending to go.